Hey everyone, Livy here, back with another video, and today we are doing a VR, well, not a VR, I don't know, it's like a general hashtag for TarotTube. This is an old one, but a lot of us were talking about bringing it back because it's been a year or more by now since that original tag came out. This is one deck gone wild, and we are with a deck that you guys are going to be probably tired of seeing from me because I feel like I keep talking about it more often, but it's okay. Me and this deck are having a renaissance, so we're talking about it. The deck I'm going to use for this tag today is the Goblins and Gardens Tarot because, like I said, me and this deck have been having a moment, so we're going to get into it right now. First off, I'll tag it down below. There's a bunch of questions related to it. You do not have to do all the questions if you want to join in. You do not have to do all the questions. You just need to do as many as you would like with whatever deck that you choose. And today, because it's the Goblins Garden Tarot, I'm going to start with question number 1. And 1 asks, why did I pick this deck? I picked this deck because I think I need a lot of the guidance right now that I can get from this deck. I feel like this deck has a lot of lessons that I need to learn, especially around kindness and patience right now. I'm not going to get fully into it, but times are not looking great for me, so I just want to have fun with this deck that doesn't seem to take itself too seriously, but it has its moments, and we're going to talk about them in some of the questions. So yeah, I just wanted a fun time. For those who are not familiar, though, with the Goblins and Gardens Tarot deck, it's about oracle size. So if you have smaller hands like me, it is a little big, but this deck is also a glossier linen finish. So it means that when I grip it, it's a little long, as you can see, but it's not like, it's not incredibly bad. I'm just like shuffling it like this just so you guys can see. And yeah, it's a fun one. So we're going to get into it. The next question I want to do today is, what card reminds you to relax when it comes up? This deck, I have to say, is very relaxing in general. So I'm going to see if I can find the one. I remember how I love how in advance I actually picked a lot of these questions, and now I'm like looking at them like, oh yeah, what card was that? Ooh, I do want to talk about this one, so I'm going to put that to the side. I know it's like, what card is that? It's going to bug me. Oh, not that one, no. Ooh, but I do want to also talk about this one. I love how I'm just like putting cards aside. I'm so sorry. I thought I came into this prepared. I knew my deck and everything. But then, ooh, and I also want to talk about that one. So I'm going to put that to the side too. And maybe that one. Okay. Nothing but the question I asked. If I come back to that question, maybe I will. I don't seem to find, I haven't seemed to find the one I really wanted to talk about. That's awkward. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, question number 3 for the one deck gone wild is, what card reminds you to relax when it comes up? You wouldn't think normally that this card reminds me to relax, but I don't know what it's been. I keep getting this card with this deck. So it's making me think is like the 7 of Coins, right? We already know that's one about like planting the seeds of your own progress, basically. And I think what it is about this one is that this like warrior looking guy, you know, is trying to plant the seeds of his own garden. There's like a maze, you know, going on too. Like, it takes time. Everything takes time. The process of life takes time. And so, like, if it's going to take some time, it's going to take some time. And there's not really much you can do about it. Like, he can keep staring at this flower and waiting and waiting and waiting until it produces what it needs. Or actually, this looks like okra, huh? Those are okras, I'm assuming. Waiting for his harvest. But yeah, it takes time. So, you know, it is what it is. And, yeah, I don't know. That's what I feel like saying right now. Okay. Next one I'm going to answer. Question number 11 is, if I could make this deck a meal, what would I make it? And you know, it has to be something with vegetables. I feel like this deck would just want, I think it would want a really tasty salad with a lot of like the in-season vegetables and produce, you know, just general produce of the time. I think, I don't like eggplant. I probably wouldn't cook eggplant for this deck. I feel like it wants a very tasty salad. For some reason, I'm getting the vibes of like a salad that has like snow peas in it and, maybe radishes and some nice like green goddess dressing and maybe a little protein on the side because let's be honest, these are still like mostly goblins in here. Maybe they have like nuts and other varieties just like this card, you know, and yeah, just be like a tasty dinner salad, I think. And for dessert, it would probably be, what would I do for dessert? It would probably be some kind of like pie, including some like delicious things like these strawberries from the devil card here. So yeah, that's my opinion about the meal. It has to be the fruits of your labor here. This deck is all about the fruits of your labor. So that's my guess. And that's what I would cook it, because why not? I would want to know if their bounty is good, you know? But anyways, that was number 11. Number 12 is, what is this deck's favorite book? This is probably going to be easy. I feel like this deck, I don't own the book anymore, so I can't really show it. But I feel like this deck's favorite book would probably be Legends and Lattes, because it's all about starting over after a life of adventuring and living your best life. It's not gardening related, but I still think this deck would like it. Because, you know, it's in that similar vein, and yeah, it's still D&D related. Okay. Question 17. Something that sets this deck apart. Okay. For me personally, what sets this deck apart for me... Oh, actually, I do want to talk about this one. What sets this deck apart for me is the fact that... Okay, actually, I just realized something. I'm going to sorry guys. I'm going to slightly zoom us in so you guys can see this a little better. What I think sets this deck apart is the fact that, okay, there are many tarot decks we know that are collage tarot decks, okay? Collage, fine. That's popular. There's a lot of decks like it, even Oracle decks like it, all kinds. But I think what makes this deck like different is the fact that it got very specific with what it wanted to do, and it's doing that job well. But it's also like feels fresh enough because it's a different type of collage. So in this case, right, yeah, you have like the nature stuff or like botanicals as a collage, but it's also very clearly pulling from like old D&D like artwork. And so that's different already, right? Like this deck had a very clear concept and it was done well and it was done precisely. And it also means that, yeah, you could say, okay, this is a collage deck, but you can't say that every collage deck has D&D and botanicals in it, right? You can't. This deck is doing something that's very different in that way, but it's very specific. And for that reason, I like it. And I think that if you like collage decks, but you also like fantasy related things, I think this could be the deck for you because of that, you know. But yeah, that's what I think sets this deck apart. So that was question number 17. Question number 21 is, what is this deck's biggest fear? And that's going to be very, I actually have an answer to this right away. So if you have this deck, you probably know, maybe through flipping it, through it, doing readings with it. But this is a deck that is all about technically having one way of being nurtured, but fighting against it to become one in nature. A lot of the images shown are like goblins and orcs and other D&D creatures, like this look like either harpy or some succubus, you know, like creatures that normally are not seen as the greatest in D&D. They would probably be marked as like villains, right? Like to adventurers. It wouldn't be, they wouldn't be preferred, you know? And I feel like this deck's biggest fear is like their peace being threatened. Because this deck is all about, in my opinion, this deck is all about reinventing yourself, right? That you can change at any point in time and decide to do something different despite what everybody else expects you to do. And so I think this deck would be afraid of people saying, well, what the heck, you know? Like, what do you mean I can't live this life? Or what do you mean you're making me go back to a life of fighting and crime and all these other things, right? I feel like that's what this deck is afraid of. It's like that common character trope where like a character was once a great warrior and they went off, hid away, they became a hermit or they did something else. And then eventually other people are trying to find them to go back on a great adventure. And I think that's what this deck is slightly afraid of because it just wants to live its life. It doesn't want to have to go out there and do all those things all the time. Like, not everybody is capable of doing that, you know? So, yeah, I think that's what that's what I think this deck would be afraid of, personally. But anyways, moving on from biggest fear, question number 22 is, if the deck had its own collection, what would it collect? And I mean, besides the obvious, like fruits, vegetables, because this deck is all about fruits, vegetables, botanicals, I think this is a deck that would like definitely be really nerdy about its gardening equipment. Like, no, why do we need this many hoes? Why do we need this many like shovels? And why do we need to collect these different types of soils and other things? I think this deck would just have it all ready because, hello, it wants to, was I going to talk about this card? I don't remember. If I need to, I'll go back to that card. It'll collect all those things. Oh my God. This 9 of coins. I love it. Okay. So I think it would definitely collect a lot of gardening equipment just because, or seeds. It'd probably collect a lot of different seeds because it needs to have a bounty. And yeah. And that's it on that one. I don't know what I'm doing here. I feel like I'm just like kind of speeding through some of these questions. Listen, if you want to see me do maybe a slightly more coherent version of this tag, I did do one deck on WoW before, and I did it for the Practical Magic Tarot. So maybe look at that one if this is more boring to you. So I don't know. Anyways, question number 24, we're going to move on, is What's this deck's signature? Well, it mentions like signature, favorite scent, flavor, those kind of things. Flavor, of course, would have to be, oh man, I feel like its favorite flavor is probably like strawberries and cream. I don't know, making guesses here. Scent, though, would have to be something very flowery. Maybe roses, typical scent. No, I feel like, would it be something like silly like lavender and honey or vanilla lavender? I don't know why I'm getting lavender vibes from this deck. I feel like it would want a lot of lavender. Something lavender related. Smell, maybe. What else does it like? Well, I think, yeah, just like the smells of like a garden or you know, like nice pine needle-y smell. I think that could also work with this deck. But I do think something along the lines of like lavenders and roses and other fresh flower smells, I think would be its favorite scent. But yeah, that's my thoughts. This deck loves its flowers, okay? Okay, we already established that. Okay, question number 29 is most and least favorite card and why. Ooh, okay. Do I have a least favorite? I think I do. But I definitely have, oh, where is it? I think this is still my favorite card from the deck. Okay. Sorry, I'm like, I don't remember if I have a least favorite though. This deck, I mean, some of them like this, like 8 of Swords. No, I mean, okay, that's okay. I'm trying to think if I have a least favorite card. Like if it does, like if I look at it and it gives me nothing. Kind of like this one. I'll put that on the side for now. Like if it doesn't give me much when I first look at it, it's probably not going to be my overall fave. But some of these make more sense when you actually read the guidebook. Or not, well, so this guidebook, it's not like a guidebook it's not big, but it tells you what creature and stuff is featured, and then it has like little paragraphs about them. When you read that, it makes a lot more sense what this deck is. I thought I had a least favorite card here, and I don't know which one I would say is the least favorite now. If I can't find my least favorite, I will at least talk about my most favorite. Well, okay. I have strong thoughts. Maybe it's this one. I have strong thoughts on the 9 of Swords usually. I kind of understand like what vibes it gives me. And I think this is my least favorite in the deck because I don't really get that sense of anxiety and, you know, nightmares and like everything going wrong feeling that the 9 of Swords can give from this card. I think it's like, I mean, most of this deck is about like trying to steer away kind of from those darker vibes. But yeah, every time I see this 9 of Swords, it doesn't really give me much. It's not like, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't give me, it doesn't give me what I need from the 9 of Swords or what I usually associate from it. So it just seems kind of like, okay, that's kind of blah. But in contrast, my favorite card from this deck, the most, right? The best, is still this one. This is the one that's on the box. This is the Fool from this deck. And I really like this Fool because this card is about the idea of starting over. But really being a fool, like you literally left the place that you were ruling to go off and make a better life and plant those leeks and have your beautiful flowers and to do all these things. Like, I think this is just my favorite. I already talked about this. This is one of my favorite Fool cards in general. And I'm still obsessed. Like, this is beautiful. Like, I'd probably, no one else would understand it maybe. But I would literally have like a print of this and like hang it somewhere in my house if I could, because it's just such a good, it's just so different of a Fool. Like, it doesn't show him falling off the cliff. He's already down on the ground, right? And going off into the distance to make a better life. And I do think that's beautiful, you know? And that's why it's my favorite card from this deck. But yeah, that's my most. So sorry, that was a little long-winded, but we're going to move on. I only have four more questions I'm going to answer this time around. So let's see if I get into this. Question number 31 says, which card in the deck do you feel most represents you right now? Okay. And when I look at, when I'm looking at this deck, I feel like, it's very hard to say. I picked favorites and now I'm like, I'm kind of blanking, but I think this maybe. Okay. I just love this card in general. I think this card also gives a different background, on the Emperor, but so it's kind of like a 2-for-1, because the next question, 32, was like, what card in this deck do you feel gives a unique spin on my regular opinion of that card? It kind of goes into that too. But I really like this Emperor because it's showing an Emperor who's not necessarily big macho man on a throne, you know? This Emperor has taken the time to put structure into their life because it's necessary if they want what they want to grow. It's being well organized, right? They are all well stocked. They got all their tools. All their things are prepped. There's little charts in the background explaining things. They basically have got this little garden here on lock. And I feel like I've needed that energy right now and am trying to embody this because a lot of things are going on in my life right now. I'm not going to get into it in this video and probably not mention all of it. But I do need this Emperor right now. I do need this type of Emperor that's like trying its best, enjoying some of the process, but working hard at the same time. And that's definitely what I've needed right now. So definitely feeling these Emperor vibes. Yeah. But what card in this deck? Oh wait, no, that's 32. Although I also kind of like, this one. So for 32, a card in this deck that I think gives a unique spin on my regular opinion of that card, I feel like is this Moon card. So if you can't really tell from this, this Moon card is kind of showing different aspects of, like, I guess different werewolf, lycanthropes, were animals that exist in D&D, right? But it also, if you look at it, it shows the choices that the moon provides. The moon, we all know, well, maybe. I had to pause there. I was like, wait, do we all know? That seems a little too much of a fact. But for the moon card, for a lot of us, it's a card where anything can happen. It's tapping into the occult. It's tapping into the subconscious. It's tapping into a bunch of different things. But I think what's unique about this card is that it's showing how different that possibility can be. You could either become, the man that just turns into a bear, or you could become a monster or some other weird being, and you just don't know. What path are you going to go down? And the moon is saying, well, any of these paths are possible, right? But you see it in a very different way where it's just these were beings instead. And it's also kind of unique. That's why I kind of like this. I like this card a lot. So I wanted to mention that too. But anyways, we're going to go on to card number 33, which is which cards in this deck make you laugh? And it's this one. Every time I see him, he just looks so, this is just such a cute and like different devil, where it's like you got this little guy hiding in the strawberries and he's like, yeah, these are mine, and just very happy and enjoying it. I don't know why every time I see this card I get like, it kind of makes me laugh. It makes me happy. This devil's enjoying itself, right? A devilishly good time with some good berries. So I like it. And I don't know why I put these on the side. I wanted to talk about this justice, but this is not the time for that. So I will leave this justice there. But the last card I'm going to answer, or the last question I'm going to answer using a card is, which card in this deck makes you feel calm, seen, emotional, right? Because let's talk about it. I'm deep in my feelings lately, so that's why this deck keeps popping up. And I feel like it's this card right now. For those who don't know, I have a very complicated relationship with the Sun card, because for me, it's kind of it's one of my shadow cards, not gonna lie. And this Sun, though, I like the Sun. I like the way it's depicted. I like that it's showing something different. And you get that sense of hope and wonder and like, but also just, it's mainly the side of the Sun that I see here is like hope. You're trying to do your best. You're trying to hope that things will go okay. And you don't know if the sun will rise today. I mean, it always has to rise. The sun rises. But for you personally, will the sun always rise? And you just don't know. And I also like what this card says. So there's like a bit on this card here. And I guess I will read it a little bit. A radiant dawn ignites kinship with the land. What's this? A new friend chooses to join you for this blessed solar event. She is ripe, round, and beautiful. She leans in to share some wisdom. Do not take for granted one single sunrise. See the way the sun takes care at a perfect distance. Some wanderers would choose greed when facing east, but it looks like the sun reflects off you in a different way. Do you have it in you to walk a planet's path? So it like talks about that near the end. And I think that also is kind of beautiful too, is like taking for granted the fact that the sun is always there. You know, if whether you feel the sun all the time or not, it is always there. And I have to remember that too in these hard times for me. And so it makes me very emotional because it reminds me to try to look for that sun, you know, and try your best. And that's all I can really hope right now. I don't know if anyone else is in that position. Maybe that's why I wanted to talk about this deck today, because I wanted to feel a little cozy in a time where not always everything feels cozy. But yeah. Anyways, if you've watched this long, thank you for watching. Hope it was coherent enough. This one deck gone wild. I'll probably do this next year with a different deck, but for now, we're just going to enjoy our Goblins and Gardens tarot. So thank you again, and I will see you all next time. Bye!